Once upon a time in the dense forests of southeastern Europe, nestled between towering pine trees and mist-laden meadows, there lay a small, secluded village named Branik. The villagers of Branik were a superstitious lot, wary of the unseen forces that they believed surrounded their home. They spoke in hushed tones about the forest, whispering tales of the supernatural and the eerie occurrences that befell those who dared to venture too deep into the woods after dusk. Among these tales, the story of the Lady of the Forest stood out as the most terrifying and enduring legend of all. The Lady of the Forest was said to be the restless spirit of Countess Ilona, who had lived centuries ago in a grand, now ruined castle that once stood on the outskirts of Branik. Countess Ilona was known far and wide for her beauty and her mysterious ways. She was a reclusive woman who rarely left her castle and was rumored to practice dark magic. It was said that she had made a pact with the forest spirits to gain eternal beauty and power, but at a terrible cost. Her pact required her to offer the blood of innocence to the forest spirits to maintain her youth and vitality. One fateful night, a young peasant girl named Annika disappeared from the village. The villagers, already suspicious of the countess, marched to her castle with torches and pitchforks. They stormed the castle, breaking down the grand doors and searching every room until they found a horrifying sight in the basement. There, in a dark chamber lit by flickering candles, lay Annika's lifeless body, surrounded by ancient runes and symbols drawn in blood. Countess Ilona stood over the body, her face twisted in an expression of terror and anger as the villagers seized her. The villagers dragged Countess Ilona out into the night and tied her to a wooden stake in the center of the village. As the flames rose around her, she cursed the villagers with her dying breath. She vowed that her spirit would never rest and that she would haunt the forests of Branik, seeking revenge on the descendants of those who had wronged her. As her body was consumed by the fire, a chilling wind swept through the village, and the once clear sky turned dark and stormy. From that day forward, strange and frightening occurrences plagued the village of Branik. Children would disappear without a trace, travelers would lose their way in the forest, and those who ventured too close to the ruins of the Countess's castle would return with tales of ghostly apparitions and eerie whispers carried on the wind. The villagers believed that the Lady of the Forest was behind these events, her spirit trapped between worlds, forever seeking to quench her thirst for vengeance. Generations passed, and the legend of the Lady of the Forest became deeply ingrained in the collective memory of the villagers. They spoke of her in hushed tones, especially on cold, windy nights when the trees seemed to whisper secrets to the wind. Despite their fear, some villagers were drawn to the mystery of the Lady of the Forest, driven by curiosity or a desire to break the curse that had plagued their home for centuries. Among these brave souls was a young woman named Mira. Unlike the others, Mira did not fear the forest or the tales of the Countess's ghost. She was a healer, known for her knowledge of herbs and potions, and had always felt a strange connection to the forest. Mira had grown up listening to her grandmother's stories about the Lady of the Forest and had always believed that there was more to the tale than met the eye. She was determined to uncover the truth and, if possible, put the Countess's spirit to rest. One misty evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Mira gathered her courage and set out toward the ruins of the Countess's castle. She carried with her a satchel of herbs and a small lantern to light her way. The forest was eerily silent, save for the occasional rustle of leaves and the distant hoot of an owl. As she approached the ruins, the air grew colder, and a sense of unease settled over her. The castle, now little more than a crumbling skeleton of stone and ivy, loomed before her like a specter from the past. Mira entered the castle cautiously, her lantern casting long shadows on the walls. She made her way to the basement, where the Countess had met her tragic end. The chamber was exactly as the stories described, dark, damp, and filled with an oppressive sense of dread. Mira took a deep breath and began to lay out her herbs, creating a circle around herself. She recited an ancient incantation, calling upon the spirits of the forest to reveal the truth. As she chanted, the temperature in the room plummeted, and a ghostly figure began to materialize before her. It was the Lady of the Forest, her once beautiful face now a mask of sorrow and rage. Mira stood her ground, her voice steady as she continued the incantation. The spirit's eyes locked onto Mira, and for a moment, the anger seemed to fade, replaced by a deep, haunting sadness. The Countess's spirit spoke, her voice a whisper carried on the wind. She revealed that she had never intended to harm the villagers. The pact she made was meant to protect them from a greater evil that lurked in the forest. However, the spirits she had bargained with had twisted her intentions, demanding blood sacrifices in return for their protection. When the villagers had burned her at the stake, they had unknowingly condemned themselves to suffer the wrath of the very spirits she had sought to control. Mira listened intently, her heart aching for the tragic figure before her. She realized that the only way to break the curse was to make amends for the past and to release the Countess's spirit from her torment. With great care, Mira prepared a potion using the herbs she had brought, a potion designed to purify the spirit and break the binding spell that held her captive. As the potion took effect, the Countess's ghost began to fade, her expression softening into one of gratitude and peace. She thanked Mira and bid her farewell, finally free to move on to the afterlife. As the spirit disappeared, a gentle breeze swept through the chamber, carrying with it the scent of blooming flowers and fresh rain. Mira returned to the village with the news of the Countess's redemption. The villagers, initially skeptical, soon noticed a change. The forest no longer felt threatening, and the eerie occurrences ceased. The legend of the Lady of the Forest was transformed from one of terror to one of sorrow and redemption, a reminder of the consequences of fear and the power of forgiveness. And so, the village of Branik found peace at last, the dark chapter of its history finally closed. The ruins of the castle remained as a silent testament to the past, but the forest thrived, a living, breathing symbol of renewal and hope. The story of the Lady of the Forest was passed down through generations, not as a warning of vengeance, but as a tale of love, sacrifice, and the enduring strength of the human spirit. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you wanted to get connected with us, then subscribe our channel and hit the bell icon. Thanks for watching this video.